Hey, what's up, hardheads? This is your boy Bobby. Welcome back to my channel. And tonight was the last 2 episodes of Scream Resurrection. So the past 2 nights I've been covering this TV show, and I've been, going through each episode, explaining each scene by scene and whatever. I'm just gonna talk about the more important parts in these episodes because we finally got the reveal of our 2 killers. And I'm gonna say that I guessed one of them right. The other one I did not guess. I actually didn't expect this other killer at all. Throughout the episodes, I've been going back and forth like, oh, is this person, is that person? And I wasn't the only one that was doing that. Shout out to you guys in the comments. I've been reading the comments and you guys been, guessing who the killer is, and we've been discussing who we all think it is, and we're going back and forth and watching it live. So this was a dope experience. I want to do this again. This was totally fun. I'm happy you guys were participating. And yeah, so I was surprised at one of our killers, but I was right about one of them. So yeah, let's get into the episodes real quick. So from the last episode, Dion got locked up because they thought he had something to do with Liv's dad being, shanked up and cut up or whatever, because they found blood on his shirt. And so he's been locked up. They questioned him. They end up letting him go. And come to find out, Liv's dad is still alive. I thought he died, but he's still alive or whatever. So she goes to the hospital. She's with her dad. Everybody's still questioning Liv, thinking that she's the, the killer or whatnot. We have Beth and Kim teaming up, talking about, we will be a dynamic duo and an awesome pair to, find out who the killer is, but they still think it's Liv. So they say, well, let's question Liv and see if she's the killer because, she's been acting really funny. She's been acting different. She was at certain places at certain times. So they wanted to, interrogate Liv to see what's going on and see whatever information they can get out of her. Meanwhile, Dion's released from jail and, he ends up hooking back up with Jamal and they talking and, he's saying like, I got this job going on and, Dion is saying like, well, maybe the whole football thing is not for me anymore. I'm over it. So he ends up trying to do what Jamal is doing. So Jamal takes him to this real sketchy part of the neighborhood and he saying, I want you to pick up this package from this house. So Dion walks up to this house and, it's really sketchy. He thinks he's going there to get drugs for Jamal. So he goes in there, he gets the package, he tries to put it in Jamal's trunk. So he lifts open the trunk and as he's about to put the package in there, he sees like a black fabric hanging out the trunk. So he's slowly pulling it out and behold, it was the whole Ghostface mask and the whole Ghostface outfit. Dion is questioning Jamal, saying, hey, it must be you must be the killer because it's just a coincidence that why you got this like outfit in your trunk. This is the same outfit that Marcus was wearing when he got killed. And Jamal was just like, I'm wearing this because I'm doing these deliveries and they want me to wear this, outfit and blah, 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 blah. And so, Dion was still a little iffy, but he kind of like, disregarded the situation just a little bit, but he still had it in the back of his head. On this whole episode, everybody's on the quest to find the killer. Things are getting down to the nitty gritty now. The Dead Fest Club, everybody in this group is dying. So, Kim and Beth is sitting there just like, all right, we have to find who this killer is because, it might be Liv, but, then again, I don't know, it could be somebody else. So Dion ends up finding Kim and he's saying like, all right, I feel Jamal's little Ghostface outfit in his trunk. I want you to go and try to get some answers for him. So Kim was just like, all right, I'll go over there, put some persuasion on him and all that other stuff. So she's dancing with him and she's trying to get some answers for him. And then he kind of put 2 and 2 together and is like, you're working with Dion and like, this is a no-go. We're not doing this. So you gotta go. So Dion ends up finding Jamal. They get into an argument and somehow Jamal kind of low-key admits that he's the killer because he's going into it and Jamal does this whole, I got you thing, the same gesture and the same saying that Marcus and Dion did when they were younger. So how would Jamal know that? So he did that, and then he also said like, well, if I was a killer, the next person I would target would be Liv and her dad. So he ends up leaving Dion. Dion ends up calling Beth and warning her that Jamal is the killer. So we go back to the hospital and we see the guard who's played by Big Boy from Outkast, and he's being a guard or whatever, and he's like talking to the nurse and he's trying to steal some medication. He ends up taking it, dropping it on the floor, and Ghostface appears behind him, stabbing and jabbing a knife inside of his head, bleeding out on the floor, convulsing. And that wasn't the end of it. Ghostface wasn't done. Ghostface takes a bottle of rubbing alcohol and pour it all over the guard, takes a lighter and sets him on fire. Like, I don't know what's up with this Ghostface dude or whatever, but he has a problem with blowing people up and setting them on fire. Dion runs back to the hospital. He sees Liv's dad inside the, behind the mirror, laying down. Ghostface is in there with him. Ghostface sees Dion looking through the mirror, through the glass. So he pulls the tubes out of the, Liv's dad's, oxygen tank or whatever, pretty much just try to kill him because the dude needs oxygen. So Dion rushes in there and try to give him ear by one of the little manual like ear pusher thingies or whatever you want to call it. So he's trying to save Liv that life, and Ghostface is just on a killing spree at the moment. So he's trying to get everybody out of here. So Beth ends up finding Liv and end up saying that Jamal is the killer. And for a while, Liv and Dion was kind of like going back and forth because he didn't trust her because she was acting pretty funny. So they end up making up. So they're good friends and possibly a couple again. I don't know why they decided to do this in the middle of all this craziness, but they did. So then we see Jamal trying to take a picture with the Ghostface mask. Then he gets a private call and it ends up being Ghostface. So the whole entire time I'm thinking is Jamal. Everybody's saying, the killer's Jamal, and he's getting a call from the killer. And, the killer's behind him. The killer ends up, stabbing him and like pretty much like impaling him with this like weird pole thing. The whole entire time I'm just like, well, the killer's not Jamal. Like, who the hell could it be? Who the hell could it be? So then we move on to the next episode, the last episode, the grand finale. And, Ghostface calls Dion and says, hey, I don't know why you thought Jamal was the killer, but you're wrong. It's not him. You're doing all this for no reason because you're salty. Back at the hospital, we have Liv and her dad. Her dad is awake, so they talking. And, she's saying, I'm aware of my problems, I want to show you who I really am because I've been hiding something. And he was just like, well, I'm aware of your troubles. Or like, in whoever's behind the mask, I'm going to love you regardless. So that was a cute little moment between them two. But they just been insinuating so much throughout these episodes that Liv could possibly be the killer. And it just keeps going. And just like, well, they're making it too obvious for, with her doing these weird faces and these weird, these weird things. And it was just like, it would be too obvious if she was the killer. But we still have, some time left to go in this episode, so maybe she is the killer. Who knows? All thought Jamal was dead, but Jamal is still alive. He's tied up and all bloodied up, and Ghostface is taking pictures of him and a video and things like that. So I think he's trying to use Jamal as bait because he's still alive. So I think Ghostface in this episode is going to, use the pictures and send them out and kind of use Jamal as bait to get the, the Dead Fest Club to him. And that's when things is going to go down. Beth gets the message on her phone, and there's a video of Jamal being tied up, and she shows Kim, and Kim is like freaking out. So she was just like, all right, we got to get inside the football game where Dion is playing. So as a distraction, Kim goes ahead and steals this girl phone so the security guard can move out the way, and Beth can go and run inside of there and alert Dion of what's going on. Beth ends up finding Dion. She shows him the video, and it kind of brings up more feelings because Jamal is still his brother. So he's like, all right, I gotta go ahead and find him. So he ends up seeing Liv, and he's like, I got this dark secret I didn't tell nobody. And she's like, well, what could it be? So come to find out, guys, the whole entire time, Dion is not Dion. Dion is Marcus the whole entire time. And you know how in the past episodes where Ghostface kept saying, I want to see your insides. I want you to show who you really are. I guess that was it. The whole time he was portraying himself as Dion when he was actually Marcus. So nobody knows, not his mom, nobody. He's building this image to be his brother, and the real Dion is dead, and he's being Marcus, and it's, I guess whoever's Ghostface wanted to, show like, hey, this is who this person really is, and you're a fraud, and it's not cool to do that. So Dion / Marcus goes to find Jamal because like, all right, he's still alive, so I want to go ahead and save him. So Liv end up finding Beth, and Liv is just like, hey, I got your phone or whatever, and you just got a text saying that, we need to go to the high school, and it was from Ghostface or whatever. And Beth was just like, okay, I guess we should go there. So Liv was like, all right, let's go. So they end up going to the high school for some odd reason, because I think they thought they was going to find Dion and Jamal there. Dion ends up finding Jamal, and they're walking out, they're escaping. And Jamal is pretty much explaining to him and talking to him, is like, hey, I've been doing this, I've been doing that. Long story short, Jamal ended up admitting to Dion that he knows that Dion is actually Marcus, and he admitted that he's the killer. So Dion just like, what, like how, like you're like, what's going on? Like, so you've been killing all these people. So Jamal went down on the list of the reason why he did it. He did it because he knew the whole entire time when Marcus and Dion were little, he knew who they were. But Dion was just like, I like how, like we never met you until like after the fact. He was just like, well, no, I knew of Dion, you know, a long time ago before then, because our dads wanted us to meet each other because of this whole situation, some other situation, I forgot what it was. So Jamal knew about them, and he kind of knew the difference between them too, I suppose. And he was also blaming Dion that he's the reason why his mom killed herself. So she ended up killing herself in her car by locking herself in the garage in her car, turning the gas on, and she's pretty much just like suffocated and just like breathing in all those toxic fumes. She ended up dying that way. So he has a huge grudge on Dion, and he's letting it all out. So he explained that he killed, you know, a couple people in the beginning, and he got used to the killing because of that. So he said, I can continue to do this. So that's when he started stalking. So as he's sitting there dying and bleeding out, he also admits that there's another killer, and it's a she. So Dion's just like, okay, this is crazy. Like, what? So the whole entire time, Jamal was the killer, working with somebody, and his motive was to just get back at Dion for all the stuff that he did to the family, and you know what he did to his real best friend, the real Dion, and he just wanted revenge on that. So that was his whole motive. But Jamal ends up dying because he was bleeding out to death. So now Dion is on the verge to find out who the other killer is. So Liv and Beth is still walking around the high school. Liv gets the text on her phone from Dion saying, you know, the killer is Jamal, but it's also explaining that, you know, the other killer is a she. So Beth is just like, well, who's that? And Liv is just like, no, it's just my dad checking up, you know, checking up on me. She's lying to her. So then Liv takes like a little pull thing, hits Beth upside the head, and pretty much knock her down. So from that moment there, I'm just like, all right, so Liv is going crazy again, and she's the killer. Dion ends up finding them in a high school, and, you know, Liv got Beth locked inside this room, and, you know, Dion's like, all right, what's going on? And they talking about, Liv is talking about, I think, you know, Beth is the killer or whatever. That's why she's locked in there. And Beth was just like, why would I be the killer if, you know, like, how could I even be the killer if I was here with you guys the whole entire time doing this thing and doing that and doing this? So, like, how would it possibly be me? So Dion is confused. They're going back and forth. He said, all right, let's just settle this. I'm calling 911. So as he's calling 911, this is when I kind of got, like, shocked, and I jumped a little bit. Because all you hear is a gunshot, and you just see it break through Dion's phone, and it hits him right in the stomach. So he goes down, and come to find out, it was Beth holding the gun, and she ended up shooting Dion. So here we go, guys. We got Beth. She ends up shooting Dion, and she pretty much revealed to herself she's the other killer. And this is what I wasn't expecting. I was not expecting Beth to be the killer. Like, we all knew that she was the horror head, and she knew her horror movies, and, you know, in the Scream movies, the people that was so addicted to horror weren't the killers, you know what I mean? They just know the rules and stuff. So this was the major twist here, because, like, yes, she knew all of that, but then she took all this information that she knew about horror movies and serial killers and things like that, and used it to her advantage. So she's the killer, guys. She was working with Jamal this whole entire time. She ends up chasing Liv, you know, around the damn school. She ends up putting the whole get up on, you know, she's slicing Liv up. They're like, they scuffling and fighting, and it was one particular scene I was cracking up at where, you know, Liv was getting away from Beth, and she, you know, closed the door on her, and she was like standing right next to the door, and then you just, you know, I guess Beth had an axe, and she's like breaking through the door, and it was just this image of Beth looking through the door, and it was just like the same scene from The Shining with Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall. I was cracking up. I'm like, yo, they are doing, like, they're going crazy with their horror movies here. But it was so funny just to see Beth looking through the door like that. Beth ended up catching up to Liv because Liv went up to this ladder. So Beth is looking around, and then blood started to drip on her. So Beth looks up, and she sees Liv up on this ladder. So she goes up to, you know, get Liv. This ladder leads up to the roof of the school. So they both end up on the roof. And here's the story of how Beth decided that she wanted to do all of this. So Beth pretty much says that she's a sociopath, and, you know, that's just the reason why she's into horror movies, because she's, you know, she's into killing and this is what she wanted to do. And it was the perfect timing when she met Jamal, because she was doing tattoos and Jamal just so happened to talk about Dion and the situation, and she said, well, that's perfect, I want to use that situation and that story, and let's just get them back. Let's use Jamal's hurt, and I love to kill and just be like an evil person, so why not just work together? And she said the whole plan was to get rid of Jamal from the beginning, but she didn't have a problem with getting rid of Amir. That's why she decided to show Amir her face right before he died. And, this girl is just fucking crazy. And this is how all the killers are in the Scream movies. And I will say I love this crazy version of Beth, because she reminds me of the other characters from the Scream movies. Plus, she gives me like a little hint of Nancy from The Craft, just because how dark the dark girl vibes that she get with the dark makeup and the earrings and the piercings and stuff like that. But she gives me Nancy times 10 a little bit without the magical powers, and I was living for it. But Beth was doing her thing, and she was just trying to get her out of here. And, she was just saying, like, I'm just doing this for no reason. I'm just doing it for the hell of it. This is why I want to do it. And I'm just helping Jamal out. And, yeah, I'm fucking crazy. What are you going to do about it? Beth ends up about to get Liv. She about to get her. So then all of a sudden there was a gunshot, and it was Dion. Dion wasn't dead. So she ends up getting shot by Dion. And then she ends up getting knocked down the glass roof, down into, like, the bottom of one of the classes or one of the rooms at the bottom of the school, whatever, because Liv takes, a helmet and just knocks her down and she falls. So that's the end of Beth. So they end up going down there to make sure that she's dead. And in my head, I'm thinking, all right, she's not dead, because in the Scream, if you guys know, if y'all fans of Scream, the killer always come back for one last scare, and I predicted that right away. But then I was thinking, like, where the hell is Kim? Like, we just see her when she just ran off, and then she, she had like one of the car keys things or whatever, and she got into like a car that was like a hearse. I think it was a hearse, and that was the last time we seen her. So I'm like, all right, where the fuck is Kim? As Dion and Liv is sitting there talking, just canoodling and all that stuff, we do get Kim. She comes back with her gun and she said, I'm the real final girl. And this is, Kim was just talking her shit. And she said, I know how it is. They always come back for one last scare. And Beth does come back up for one last scare. She comes up, trying to attack him, still talking shit. And Kim ends up shooting her ass up. And then that's the end of Beth. She's completely dead and gone. So that was kind of a major plot twist right there, guys. And then we get our typical happy ending. Fast forward, I guess a year or so later, I guess they're out of high school. Dion is now with Liv and his mom in California, and he's FaceTiming Kim, and she's in Georgia, I believe. And, they still got their friendship thing going on. And it's just like a happy ending. They're all living their separate lives, doing their own thing. But at the very end, Dion gets a phone call from a private number again, and he just kind of rejects it and then just walks away from the situation. And that's how Scream Resurrection ends. So guys, overall this season, I was a little iffy with it on the first episode, and then the second episode was really me in, but it really wrote me in on yesterday's last two episodes. The third and the fourth one, that's when I kind of got into it a little bit more. This season is getting a lot of backlash. I don't know, it's because of the acting. A lot of people have been complaining about the acting and the dialogue, which I can completely agree with. Like, the dialogue in this season is kind of shitty. Whoever wrote this season didn't do too much of a great job. I mean, there was some twists and stuff in here, good twists, but at the same time, whoever was writing for these characters and the dialogue for these characters was trash. So that was one of the complaints I had with this. I agree with a lot of people with this. The level of racism that they showed throughout the season 2 is a little bit much. Like, yes, there's racism still going on around the world and America and stuff like that, but a lot of it was unnecessary, and I'm not going to say it's unrealistic, because a lot of this is realistic, but like, I don't know what part they were living in. I forgot. Like, I don't know what part state they were living in, but it was just too aggressive here, and it was just like a little just too much for my own taste and my own liking. But racism is alive and well. I understand it. I get it, but it was kind of a little bit forced on this show. What I will say is I had a lot of fun watching this. Like, a lot of people that's giving this show a shitty rating or probably gave up watching it, maybe you should continue to keep watching it and, just enjoy it for what it is. And that's what I did. Like, the show is not perfect at all. A lot of people like the original, first 2 seasons of Scream. And I can't say the storyline was better on those, those 2 seasons there. But with this one, being as though that it was all backed up and it kept being pushed back and never been released, and because of the whole Weinstein situation, I still enjoyed the show. I had a lot of fun watching it. I look forward to watching it every night and reviewing it and talking about it with you guys. And as even in the comments below, like some of you guys don't like it, but y'all still invested in watching this show because it's still entertaining. The kills in this show was like fucking crazy, and that's one thing you guys have to admit, that the kills in this show was brutal. So I don't know. If you guys haven't seen it yet, please give the show a chance and just take it for what it is. Like I said, I'm warning you now, like the dialogue and some of the story is kind of crappy and the acting is kind of cheesy. But you got the original Scream mask back, you got the original voice actor back, and you got some comedy, you got some entertainment. So this was definitely a fun watch for the past 3 days. Again, I enjoyed watching it. I'm pretty sure you guys enjoyed watching it too, because obviously y'all writing it in the comments below. So yeah, I had fun watching the show. I had fun doing these reviews, and if you guys would like to see more of these reviews for upcoming horror shows that's coming out, let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. And thanks so much again, guys, for watching these videos and conversing with me and just connecting with me with this. I had a lot of fun doing this, and I just keep saying that because it was fun. I enjoyed myself. So thanks for watching this video again, guys, and I see y'all in the next video. Peace.